Want to improve your English, but tired of boring textbooks and tedious exercises? Readings in English offers a refreshing approach to language learning through captivating stories. By immersing yourself in compelling narratives, you'll naturally expand your vocabulary, enhance your comprehension, and improve your overall fluency. It's a fun, effective, and engaging way to master the English language. Today's story, The Lone Lighthouse Keeper, is a perfect example. It's a tale of resilience, solitude, and the unexpected connections that can emerge even in the most challenging circumstances. Let's get started. The rhythmic pulse of the foghorn was the soundtrack to Thomas's life. For 10 years, he'd been the solitary keeper of the North Rock Lighthouse, a stark, imposing structure perched precariously on a windswept islet miles from the nearest mainland. Each day unfolded with the precision of a well-oiled machine. Sunrise brought the ritual of polishing the massive Fresnel lens, its intricate prisms catching the first rays of light, casting a kaleidoscope of colors across the stone walls. The salty tang of the sea air filled his lungs, a constant companion. He'd check the fuel levels for the lamp, ensuring its unwavering beam would continue to guide ships safely through the treacherous waters. Midday brought the simple task of preparing his meager meal, the rhythmic chopping of vegetables a counterpoint to the ceaseless crashing of waves against the rocks below. Evenings were spent meticulously recording weather patterns in his worn leather-bound journal, the scratching of his pen a quiet counterpoint to the howling wind. His only company was the ceaseless rhythm of the sea, the cry of gulls overhead, and the comforting weight of routine. Loneliness, a constant companion, had become as familiar as the rough texture of the lighthouse stones beneath his calloused hands. He was a man carved by the relentless forces of nature, his spirit as weathered as the granite cliffs that surrounded him. The usual predictability of the sea began to unravel subtly. The gulls, normally boisterous and plentiful, were noticeably absent, their usual cries replaced by an unsettling silence. The wind, though still a constant presence, carried a different edge, a low, almost mournful hum that vibrated through the very stones of the lighthouse. The usually clear sky was now a bruised purple, heavy with the threat of an approaching storm. Thomas, attuned to the nuances of the sea, felt a prickling unease, a sense of impending change that went beyond the normal fluctuations of weather.
He noticed the waves, usually a predictable dance of rhythm and power,
were growing agitated, their crests frothing with a furious energy. He spent hours staring out at the churning water, a knot tightening in his stomach. The rhythmic crash of waves, once comforting, now sounded like a relentless drumbeat of approaching doom. He meticulously checked the storm shutters, securing them against the impending onslaught. His movements were precise, his mind alert, a practiced response to the warnings whispered by the sea. The air grew thick and heavy, charged with the electricity of an approaching tempest. He felt a strange mixture of anticipation and dread, a familiar tension that always accompanied the approach of a major storm. But this time, something felt different, something profoundly unsettling. The solitude, usually a comfort, now felt like a suffocating blanket, isolating him from the world, leaving him vulnerable to the approaching fury of nature. He felt a deep-seated unease, a premonition that this storm would be unlike any he had ever faced. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of bruised purple and angry red, a breathtaking yet ominous spectacle. The wind howled, a banshee wail that clawed at the lighthouse, rattling the windows and shaking the very foundations. Rain lashed down in sheets, blurring the already indistinct landscape into a gray, swirling chaos. Thomas, braced against the onslaught, worked tirelessly, securing loose equipment and reinforcing the storm shutters. Each gust of wind felt like a physical blow, threatening to tear the lighthouse from its rocky perch. He moved with a practiced efficiency, his movements honed by years of battling the elements. The rhythmic pulse of the foghorn, usually a comforting sound, was now almost swallowed by the tempest's roar, a feeble counterpoint to the overwhelming power of nature. The sea, previously a source of both beauty and threat, was now a raging beast, its waves towering like monstrous walls of water, crashing against the rocks with terrifying force. Spray from the waves constantly battered the lighthouse, a relentless assault that tested its strength and Thomas's resolve. He felt a primal fear grip him, a raw, visceral sensation that transcended the usual anxieties of a storm at sea. This was different. This was a storm of epic proportions, a force of nature that seemed determined to obliterate everything in its path. He fought back against the overwhelming power, his determination fueled by a deep-seated need to survive, to endure. He was a tiny speck against the immense power of the ocean, a lone sentinel against the forces of nature. Yet, in the midst of the chaos, a strange sense of calm settled over him, a quiet acceptance of the inevitable. The storm reached its zenith, a terrifying crescendo of wind, rain, and wave. The lighthouse groaned under the strain, its structure creaking and groaning as if protesting the relentless assault. Thomas clung to the railing, the wind attempting to rip him from his precarious position. The waves were monstrous, each one a towering wall of water that threatened to engulf the lighthouse. He could feel the vibrations through the very stones beneath his feet, a constant reminder of the immense power of nature. The air was thick with salt spray, the taste bitter and sharp on his tongue. Visibility was reduced to near zero, the only light piercing the darkness being the unwavering beam from the lighthouse itself, a defiant beacon in the heart of the maelstrom. The rhythmic pulse of the foghorn was barely audible, swallowed by the deafening roar of the storm. He felt a strange detachment, as if watching the events unfold from a distance, his body moving through the motions of survival, guided by instinct and years of experience. He battled against the relentless assault, his body aching, his mind focused solely on maintaining the light, the only hope for ships navigating the treacherous waters. He fought against the wind, against the rain, against the waves, against the very essence of the storm itself. He was a lone warrior, his weapon not a sword or a shield, but his unwavering dedication to his duty, his stubborn refusal to succumb to the overwhelming power of nature. The storm raged on, a testament to nature's untamed power, a reminder of humanity's vulnerability in the face of such overwhelming force. As the storm gradually subsided, a profound silence descended upon the island, a stark contrast to the recent cacophony. The wind, though still present, had lost its ferocious edge, its howl reduced to a mournful whisper. The rain continued to fall, but with a gentler rhythm, a soothing patter against the lighthouse windows. Yet, the silence was more terrifying than the storm's fury. The isolation was complete. The radio remained stubbornly silent. His attempts to contact the mainland met only with static, a chilling reminder of his complete isolation. He was alone, utterly and completely alone, cut off from the world, stranded on a windswept islet, the silent sentinel of a raging sea that had now calmed, leaving behind an eerie stillness. The damage to the lighthouse was significant. The storm had tested its limits, leaving behind cracks in the stonework and shattered windows. He surveyed the damage, his heart heavy with the weight of his solitude. The usual comforting routine was shattered, replaced by the harsh reality of his isolation. He was alone with his thoughts, his memories, and the haunting echoes of the storm. The silence, once a familiar companion, now felt oppressive, a suffocating blanket that smothered his spirit. The vastness of the ocean stretched before him, a stark reminder of his vulnerability, his insignificance in the face of nature's immense power. He felt the weight of his isolation pressing down on him, a crushing burden that threatened to overwhelm him. The fear was not of the physical dangers, but of the profound loneliness, the crushing weight of isolation. He felt the creeping tendrils of despair begin to wrap around his mind, a chilling reminder of the fragility of the human spirit. The enforced solitude forced Thomas to confront his past, memories surfacing like long submerged objects rising to the surface. He found himself recalling fragments of his life before the lighthouse, memories both vivid and fragmented, like pieces of a shattered mirror reflecting distorted images of his former self. He remembered a bustling city life, a successful career, a loving family. But these memories were overlaid with a sense of unease, a vague feeling of something lost, something broken. He remembered a specific incident, a night of heavy rain similar to the storm he had just endured. A car accident, a tragic loss. The details remained hazy, shrouded in a fog of grief and regret, but the emotional impact was palpable. He had retreated to the lighthouse, seeking refuge from the pain, the loneliness, a self-imposed exile. The memories were a source of both pain and solace. The pain was acute, the loss still raw, even after all these years. But the memories also brought a sense of understanding, a recognition of the reasons behind his self-imposed isolation. He saw his past self, the man he had been before the tragedy, a man filled with ambition and hope, a man who loved and lost. He saw the man he had become, the weathered, solitary figure who had chosen the isolation of the lighthouse as a shield against the pain of his past. The storm, in its destructive power, had forced him to confront these memories, to acknowledge the scars that remained, to finally begin the process of healing. The silence of the lighthouse, once a suffocating burden, now became a space for reflection, a sanctuary where he could confront his past and begin to find peace. The storm's aftermath revealed the extent of its destructive power. The once pristine coastline was littered with debris, splintered wood, tangled fishing nets, and the skeletal remains of wrecked vessels. The sea, now calm, reflected the gray sky, its surface littered with floating wreckage. Thomas, venturing cautiously outside the lighthouse, discovered the remnants of a small sailboat, its mast snapped, its hull battered and broken. It was a stark reminder of the storm's power and the vulnerability of those who dared to challenge its fury. He found a small, waterlogged chest amongst the wreckage. Inside, carefully wrapped in oilcloth, was a leather-bound journal, its pages filled with elegant handwriting in a language he didn't recognize. Attached to the journal was a tarnished silver locket engraved with a single delicate flower. The locket held a miniature portrait of a young woman with kind eyes and a gentle smile. A wave of sadness washed over him as he examined the woman's face. He felt a profound sense of empathy for the unknown owner, a connection forged in shared experiences of loss and solitude. The journal and locket represented a life interrupted, a story left unfinished. He knew he had to find a way to return them to their rightful owner. This discovery gave him a renewed sense of purpose, a beacon of hope in the overwhelming loneliness. The task of restoring the journal and locket became his new focus, a new mission that extended beyond the confines of his isolated existence. The discovery of the journal and locket ignited a spark of hope within Thomas, a flicker of light in the darkness of his solitude. He meticulously cleaned the journal, carefully drying its waterlogged pages. The language proved to be a challenge, but he was determined to decipher its contents. He spent hours poring over dictionaries and language guides, slowly piecing together the story of the journal's owner, a young woman named Ilara, a marine biologist who had been studying the effects of climate change on the local ecosystem. Her entries documented her research, her passion for the ocean, and her growing concern about the impact of human activity on the environment. But her entries also revealed a deeper story, a tale of love, loss, and resilience. She wrote of her fiancé, a fisherman named Liam, and their dreams of a life together. She spoke of her worries about his safety at sea and her growing fear of the changing climate. The journal entries culminated in a poignant account of her final voyage, her desperate attempt to reach safety during the storm. The discovery of Ilara's journal and the miniature portrait in the locket gave Thomas a newfound purpose. He was no longer just a solitary lighthouse keeper, but a guardian of a lost story, a custodian of someone else's memories. He felt a responsibility to honor Ilara's memory and to share her story with the world. He resolved to find Liam, to share the contents of the journal, and to ensure that Ilara's legacy would live on. The task ahead was daunting, but the glimmer of hope provided a new direction, a new purpose in his life, a reason to break free from the isolation of his self-imposed exile. The storm had left its mark, but it had also awakened something within him, a renewed sense of purpose, a connection to the wider world, and a hope for the future. With renewed purpose, Thomas began the arduous task of deciphering the remaining entries in Ilara's journal and identifying her fiancé Liam. The journal contained clues, references to a small coastal village, a particular type of fishing boat, and a distinctive family crest. Armed with this information, Thomas painstakingly researched local records, contacting maritime authorities and coastal communities. The search proved challenging, hampered by the remoteness of the island and the lack of reliable communication. He spent countless hours poring over old ship manifests, contacting historical societies, and navigating the labyrinthine bureaucracy of maritime records. His solitary existence, once a burden, now served him well. His patience and meticulous attention to detail, honed by years of meticulous record-keeping, proved invaluable. He discovered that Liam's family had a long history of fishing in the region, their lineage traced back generations. He discovered Liam's family still lived in the coastal village mentioned in Ilara's journal. As he meticulously pieced together the information, a sense of urgency grew within him. He felt a responsibility not only to find Liam but also to share Ilara's story and her passionate dedication to preserving the ocean's delicate ecosystem. He knew that Ilara's research could be crucial in understanding the impact of climate change and protecting the marine environment. This knowledge fueled his determination, driving him forward despite the challenges. He knew he had to reach Liam, not just to deliver the locket and journal, but also to share Alara's legacy and her unwavering commitment to the preservation of the ocean's fragile beauty. Thomas finally reached the coastal village described in Alara's journal, a quaint settlement nestled between the sea and rolling hills. The village was a tapestry of weathered houses, narrow cobblestone streets, and the ever-present scent of salt and fish. He found Liam living in a modest cottage overlooking the harbor, a weathered man with kind eyes and a quiet demeanor. Liam was initially hesitant, wary of the stranger who had appeared seemingly out of nowhere, bearing news of his lost love. But as Thomas shared Alara's story, carefully recounting the details from her journal, Liam's initial skepticism melted away, replaced by a profound sense of grief and bittersweet remembrance. The journal's contents brought back a flood of memories of their shared dreams, their passionate love, and Alara's unwavering dedication to her research. Liam shared his own story, recounting the events of the fateful storm, his desperate search for Alara, and the agonizing uncertainty that had consumed him since. He revealed that Alara's research was groundbreaking, offering critical insights into the effects of climate change on the local ecosystem. Her findings, he believed, could help protect the marine environment and safeguard the livelihoods of the village's fishermen. Thomas presented Liam with the locket and the journal, a tangible link to the past, a bittersweet reminder of their shared loss and a testament to Alara's enduring legacy. The encounter between Thomas and Liam was a poignant exchange of grief, remembrance, and the shared understanding of loss and resilience. It was a moment of profound human connection, a bridge built across the chasm of grief and solitude. The shared experience forged a bond between them, a connection born of shared loss and the enduring power of love and memory. Liam, deeply moved by Alara's story and the meticulous efforts Thomas had undertaken, decided to dedicate himself to continuing Alara's research. He shared her findings with the local community, sparking a renewed interest in protecting the marine environment. Together, they organized educational initiatives, raising awareness about the impact of climate change and promoting sustainable fishing practices. Alara's meticulous notes and research, preserved through the storm, became a cornerstone of their efforts. The village rallied around Liam, inspired by Alara's dedication and the extraordinary circumstances that had led to the rediscovery of her work. They established a small marine research center named in Alara's honor to continue her work and protect the coastal ecosystem. The center became a hub for scientific research, community engagement, and education. It was a testament to the enduring power of love, resilience, and the unwavering commitment to preserving the natural world. Thomas, witnessing the impact of Alara's legacy, felt a profound sense of fulfillment. His solitary existence, once a source of profound loneliness, had led him to play a pivotal role in preserving Alara's work and inspiring a community. He realized that his years of isolation had inadvertently prepared him for this unique mission, sharpening his observational skills, fostering his patience, and strengthening his resolve. He had found purpose beyond the confines of the lighthouse, a sense of belonging forged in the crucible of loss and rediscovery. The experience profoundly changed Thomas. His solitary life, once a source of profound loneliness, now felt less isolating. He had forged a connection with Liam and the coastal community, a bond built on shared loss and mutual respect. He continued his duties as the lighthouse keeper, but his perspective had shifted. The rhythmic pulse of the foghorn no longer symbolized isolation, but served as a constant reminder of the interconnectedness of life, the enduring strength of the human spirit, and the power of unexpected connections. He frequently visited Liam and the Marine Research Center, sharing his knowledge and experiences. He became a valued member of the community, his quiet demeanor and unwavering dedication earning him the respect and affection of the villagers. He found solace in his work, the rhythmic tasks providing a sense of calm and purpose. The lighthouse, once a symbol of solitude, became a beacon of hope, its light guiding ships to safety and illuminating the path toward a brighter future. He continued to record his observations, his meticulous notes now contributing to the collective knowledge of the Marine Research Center. He found friendship and companionship in unexpected places, realizing that true connection transcends geographical boundaries and the barriers of solitude. His journey, marked by both isolation and connection, had led him to a deeper understanding of himself and the profound resilience of the human spirit. His story became a testament to the transformative power of human connection, the unexpected paths to purpose, and the enduring strength of the human spirit.